So which battery is going to work the best for your application? Hey, this is John Young. Today we're looking at some different size batteries here from the Ryobi company. This is the 9 amp hour. This is their new, I believe this is a 2 amp hour. But people ask this question, and there's a lot of misconception about batteries out there, meaning that they think that this particular battery is going to make a tool run stronger. It's going to have more torque by using a big battery than a small battery. And it's just not the case. The batteries are all designed to give the same amount of wattage, or voltage I should say, 18 volts, somewhere, right there, 18 volts. The batteries we're looking at today are all in the new HP series, the high performance series, which means that when you have a tool that is an HP tool, that they can talk to the battery and give you the optimal run time and torque for your application. All HP. Newer generation of batteries here. But there's a big size difference. So this is a 2 amp hour and this is a 9 amp hour. And we're going to take a look at the weights and such. So first off, we're going to start and take a look at the weight of this is one of the new ones that actually comes with the new kits, the new HP series kits. 2 amp hour comes with some of the kits. There's a 4 amp hour that comes with it. But let's take a look at the weight of the 2 amp hour. And you can see that the 2 amp hour comes in just under a pound. So it's coming in just a little bit lighter than most of the batteries we're going to be looking at. Next, we're going to graduate from our 2 amp hour to our 3 amp hour. Now this is a little bit older generation, but it's still the HP version. Wherever it says it right there, you can see that, the HP. But it's a 3 amp hour. So you're seeing our battery is getting much larger height-wise. Everything else is identical. And they have the little battery things on the front, the little gauges, but we have more bulk and size. Let's take a look at the weight. You can see this one's coming in at about 1 pound 10 ounces. So this is getting close to 2 pounds. 2 pounds would be 1 pound 16 ounces would be 2 pounds. So it's getting close to 2 pounds. Next, we're going to take our 3 amp hour and we're going to compare it to the new 4 amp hour that is coming out in shipping with some of the new HP tools. Now, if you take a look at the two, they almost look identical in size. Both are HP. This is just the latest version and a 4 amp hour. Let's take a look at the weight on the 4 amp hour battery. As you can see, this actually comes in a little bit less. It's about an ounce less than the 3 amp hour. It's coming in at 1 pound 9 ounces as opposed to 1 pound 10 ounces. Continuing, we've got our 4 amp hour battery, and now we've got a 6 amp hour battery. Now we're getting into, this is a little bit of the last year's technology. They're still selling these. These are available in the HP, so they're going to talk to the tools. But let's take a look at the weight on the 6 amp hour battery. You can see that we're jumping up and we're getting there into that 2 pound range. Now this is getting to be kind of a heavier battery for a variety of different applications where you're going to need longer runtime. Finally, we're going to look at the 6 amp hour versus the 9 amp hour. So there's a size difference. Everything else is identical. The footprint from the top or the bottom is the same. It's just our height. That's the only difference. Let's take a look at the weight on this one. Now this one jumps almost a pound, taking us up to a very substantial, almost 3 pounds on this particular battery. It's getting to be quite the beast. So now the question becomes is which batteries, which ones are going to be the best? Well, it really depends on your application. If you're doing like a wet dry vac, the 9 amp hour is something you can put in there and it's going to last a long time and give you a lot of cleaning time. If you have the mower, a couple of these in a mower is going to last a long time. If you have a smaller hand tool, maybe not the greatest tool. Let me show you why. So now why does the size of the battery really matter? Well, some tools, a heavier battery is okay, but some not so much. So we're going to take a look at this. This is just a LED light, kind of a little work light, trouble light. And we're going to kind of find where the balance point is. The pivot point is somewhere in that vicinity. I'm kind of back and forth with it. So it's going to be somewhere in there. Now, take a look at that. That's almost in line with that line. Now, I'm going to take the big battery, put that 9 amp hour battery in there. And let's see where that pivot point has now moved to, where it's going to kind of balance out a little bit. So I've got, instead of being a pivot point out here, now it's going to be back in here somewhere. And I could find it more accurately, but we're just for this comparison. Let's jump to the 4 amp hour battery, that new 4 amp hour battery. Now we were over here. Well, that's not the pivot. That's not the balance point. It's going to be somewhere somewhere over here, just a little bit farther. There, it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark, right about in there, will be the balance point. So we moved it from over here to over here. That's the idea. Is with some tools and the heavier batteries, it's not going to matter. Like the shop, the wet dry vac and things such as that. If you get a shop vac, what have you. When you have some tools where balance is important, having the smaller batteries, it might be that little 2 amp hour battery, it might be the 4 amp hour. There's not a huge difference in weight between these two, but it might be something that you want to have a smaller battery because weight matters. Maybe you're going to do a project where you're going to do a lot of drilling and driving of nuts, what have you, and the weight is going to matter, or the balance of the tool. There might be some drills or hand tools that balance matters. Now in this particular one, it really wouldn't matter because I put the battery in and I stand it up and then I fold it out and off you go. So the huge battery in this one is fine. But for some of the hand tools that you're running quite a bit, like our little shears is one, and as would be an example. If you put a big battery in, it'll last longer, but the balance, it has it so the balance is too far to the back, and it's just uncomfortable to hold. So which is the best battery? It's going to vary from tool to tool, but you want to find the battery that will give you some run time, be able to do the job, and give you a level of comfort when you're running that particular tool. This is John Young with The Weekend Handyman. Thank you for watching. We'll put a link in the description below so you can go check out some of the battery deals from Home Depot.
For more tips and how-to videos, go to weekendhandyman.com.